Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary Lore with my long-haired co-host, Joe. Say hi, Joe.
It's there. You can see it now.
It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters.
Psychic friend Fredbear? Oh.
Yeah, that works too. So, basically today we're going to be talking about a bunch of the different kinds of humans that you could find on the plane of Ikoria. We're also, I'm just going to get this out of the way at the very start of this. Narset. Narset showed up. That's it.
What'd she do?
Nothing.
He goes, I just told you. She showed up.
Vivian was like, hey, we should look for Narset in one point in the book. And then nothing came from it. So I like to think Narset just like kind of showed up, kicked Yadaro in the groin, and then planes walked away. So
who threw that piece of paper?
So yeah, that's it for Narset. Let's get on to the rest of these guys. We're going to talk
I wanted to hear about her like monking an apex down. Just like, I'm a big monster. I have martial arts. Just basically Gokuing a great ape.
We're going to talk about the partner-based legends right now. So these guys, they're all going to have little blurbs on them. Oh. And so there's one for every one of the different commander decks. So real quick, we talk about Kazur, the Ruthless Stalker, he's a green legendary creature. And then his little buddy, Ukima, the Stalking Shadow, which is a whale wolf. Which, fun fact, whales and wolves are very closely related as far as like their evolutionary trees go. Because
I love whales.
They had a common ancestor that lived on the shoreline. And then some of them just stayed on the shore and others went into the jungle. And
is that why whales breathe air?
Yes, Joe. That's because they're mammals. Because they... But yeah, that is why. I know what your actual question was, yeah. So
whales are actually water wolves.
So because these guys, one is green and then one's blue-black, they find their common ground in the soul type belief of survival of the fittest. And so they're literally constantly challenging each other, and they use combat tactics and predatory cunning to literally kill anything they feel like doing that to.
Do they like make it a competition, just like, I can kill that, and then the other one's just like, oh
yeah, like it's kind of like, I'll take the 500 on the right and you take the 500 on the left.
See, that's basically what I was saying, but I translated the second part into whale noises.
Yeah. Forget you, I'm taking the 501. That's the spirit. So we have a blue character named Haldon, the avid arcanist, and then Paco, his elemental doggy.
Okay, that's delightful.
And it's literally called the Arcane Retriever because in the shape of a golden retriever. And because it's red-green, it's actually a golden retriever. And they just go around looking for fancy crystals. And Paco will sniff out strange and powerful crystals, and Haldon will study and experiment with them. And Haldon just has treats on hand so that whenever his dog does something good, he can feed him.
That's the greatest story of all time.
Then we have Nikara and Yannick, the Scavenging Sentinel. So one of the things they did with these characters is they gave each of their secondary parts the same word. So Lair Scavenger, Scavenging Sentinel. And so Nikara and Yannick, they're both outsiders. And they're like, communities don't like them, basically. But then they were bonded. And they kind of became best friends. And that's the whole Abzan thing. Caring a lot about the small group that you have. And trusting no one but the ones that you do. And it is worth noting that Yannick is a hyena beast. Which I found really interesting.
Is that the creature type?
Yeah, hyena beast.
Is that the only hyena we have?
No, there's a few, but they're very few and far between. And I'd like to point out just that the creature types have been really interesting. So you had Ukima, who's a whale wolf. Then you had Paco, which was an elemental hound, which was less interesting than the other ones, but hyena
Chandra
beast.
Has one of those.
Fair.
She's a magma.
And then, of course, we're going to come to one of the best ones. We got Bralin, who in his artwork looks like the kid from Neverending Story when he's on top of Falcor, like, yeah! Because we have Bralin and Shabraz. Now, Shabraz, Joe, that's the sky shark. Do you know what its creature type is?
Isn't that bird shark?
It is a bird shark. Again, with the crazy creature types.
It's amazing.
And so, basically, the two of them they bonded because Shabraz basically like caught. I mean, Shabraz was caught basically by Bralin, but also Shabraz caught Bralin, and they bonded and used their mutual love for the sky, and now they can basically go anywhere around Rogrin, just on like going across volcanic peaks and just basically just living life to the fullest between this white blue shark and this red boy.
That sounds like they're living the life.
Yeah. And then we have Trin. So, okay, we just got over that really nice story, right, Joe?
Oh, no.
Now we have Trin, the champion of freedom,
Okay.
and Sylvar, the devourer of the free.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So, Trin was a member of the Draneth military, right?
Okay.
And Draneth is the town where most of the humans live, other than the Sky Breach. There's like 3 locations. We'll get to those. But the idea is that Trin lived in the Draneth area. And she saw Luca get cast out because of violating its laws and stuff like that. And she's like,
We know Luca.
Yeah, he lives on the 2nd floor. And so...
What?
It's a song.
Oh, I was gonna say it's that sea monster, but okay.
So, anyways, that was good. That makes a lot more sense.
It's a little more currently relevant. You guys should watch Luca on Disney Plus. This isn't a plug at all. It's just legitimately we enjoyed the movie.
So basically, what happens is Trin accidentally gets bonded, even though she was going to try and not let that happen. And her bonded companion is a nightmare cat.
Oh yeah, in Draneth, it's a huge crime to be a bonder, isn't it?
Yes, it's an extremely bad idea because it's considered to be like basically an abomination. Because bonders are relatively new. They didn't do it until relatively recently. And so basically what she does is she keeps this giant monster inside, right? She keeps the monster inside, away from everybody. And she'll take whoever she deems Sweeney Todd style to be worthy of not existing and feed it to Sylvar. And she does that because then Sylvar goes out and he stops monsters from killing the people in the city.
So she had to basically become like a lawful evil at that point. Just like,
yeah, and
we gotta sacrifice some people so this thing protects us.
Yeah, it's like a Little Shop of Horrors scenario.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Now, we've talked about the 5 bonders and their creatures that were from the commander decks. That said, there are other bonders to talk about.
Ooh.
So this one isn't technically a bonder from the way it seems. What I mean by that is this is a character named Gavi. Now, she is she's a shaman, right?
Okay.
And so she lived in the wild. And she discovered a litter of baby cat dinosaurs.
Aww.
And basically, she raised them, and they were just they were eggs, and they had just hatched when she found them, and their mother had just died, so they had never met the mother, and so they bonded onto Gavi, and she has complete control of them, and she protects them with her life.
Yeah, she better.
And it's insane to think that there's just this idea of this nice little lady and she's surrounded by these vicious cat dinosaurs.
I know, I just imagine her protecting them from some just slightly bigger than her creature but not as vicious as a cat dinosaur, just you're not getting to my children, no, you won't take them, and they're just mama, that's lunch, we got this.
I'm sorry, mama. But yeah, she's a cat lady in Ikoria, and those cat dinosaurs now devour anything that tries to hurt her.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and obviously any new additions to her family, they're just hers. Next up, as far as bonders are concerned, is Keenan, not Kel. But Keenan.
But I love orange soda.
No one's gonna get that one unless they're.
I know that. Ricky, are we old?
Yes, Joe, we are at this point.
Oh.
we can be considered to be. So basically, Vivian meets Keenan and asks him how is it that you're able to be able to bond with several creatures? Like Keenan is capable of bonding with a variety of monsters. That's why its ability allows you to look for non-human creatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because Keenan's basically the Kangaskhan kid from that one Pokemon episode. And he goes, Kangaskhan! And Keenan was asked by Vivian Reed, like I said, how do you do it? What do you think Keenan said?
Did I just do it?
He just growled and ran away on one of the beasts. Because he doesn't speak to people. He's a monster person. It's hilarious. Like, it's just little blurbs that kind of help to build the world around what's going on. Now, that said, we have another bonder. A very important bonder. Possibly one of the biggest bonders to talk about.
Yeah.
What?
Steam.
It's Winota.
Oh. Wasn't she banned for a little bit?
She was, yes. She's suspended, I think, right now in Historic. She might have been unbanned. The point is that she won't be banned by the time this episode comes out, I expect, because of the whole thing happening with Historic Jumpstart. But she has formed magical connection with the monsters of Ikoria. And what's crazy is that her giant raccoon monster that she's bonded with ate her arm because she was trying to kill it. And then they bonded.
Oh, okay. It's like I needed a timeline of events here. I got it.
Yeah, that was intentional. Yeah, so Winota only has one arm because her pet, her bonded soulmate animal thing, ate her arm. And then this
like,
last
oh no,
one,
you ate my arm. Now, you know what? Let's bond. Oh, we're bonded. Your phone.
This last one that I'm talking about, as far as bonders are concerned, isn't actually a human. It's the other side of it that's shown more often. Kogla. Kogla, I didn't mention in the monsters bit because it's actually a bonded creature. And it was turned out that the girl in the artwork for Kogla is the bonder. So I'm including it here because the human is depicted in the actual artwork.
Oh, so it's not a King Kong scenario.
It is actually exactly a King Kong scenario. Everybody knows that screaming, helpless blonde woman being crushed in its palm was definitely meant to be a good person connected to King Kong.
And then she taught it sign language.
Yeah. The rest of these humans are not usually as fond of these monsters. We're going to talk about Riel. She is not against the monsters. She lives among them, but she isn't particularly... she's not a bonder, is what I mean. Instead, she's basically a sage who talked to Vivian and told her all the different things that she needed to know. Like all these different legends and stuff like that.
So did the whole story follow Vivian?
No, actually. Vivian was just in the blurbs, basically.
Why has she come up like the entire time we've been doing Legendary Lore?
Because right now, we're talking about those blurbs. When we actually get to the story, it's going to be a bit more interesting.
I know that one's about Luca and Jirina.
Yes. So, with that said, there are now 3 characters left to talk about. Okay, so these last 3 characters are all humans that don't like monsters. We're going to start off with the biggest of the bigoted, the general himself, Kudro. So Kudro's whole thing, we'll get to learn more about him in the actual storyline bit, but he's basically just this really bitter old man who hates things. He's the character from every 80s movie that is like heavy military. We're gonna bomb the Russians kind of thing. There's people dying in that city. We gotta bomb it. That's the only way to solve this problem.
Oh, he was the President's General from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, exactly. Same, that trope, exactly that trope. And so he hates monsters. Kill every monster you see. Only good monster's a dead monster kind of guy. And it's his influence that kind of informs everything else that happens all over the place in this entire play, in this whole deal. Now, next up, we have Cheville. Cheville's a kind of a cool guy. He's the villain that you like to hate. He's kind of like Kano from Mortal Kombat. So
Okay,
his
that's
whole
cool because he looks like Gaston, and I was like, oh, he's a horrible person. Oh no.
you kill the beast. So basically, what he
Oh, I
here's
guess it does.
here's what's cool about Cheville. He is an expert. This isn't shown in his card. He is an expert at replicating the calls of certain animals, which he uses to draw the large antlered alphas away from the herd.
Hmm.
And guess who hates him more than anyone else?
Vivian.
Yep, Vivian hates him. And then she heard, like, she met Cheville, heard all the stuff he had done, hated him immediately, and then started a bar fight in which he knocked him out.
That's Vivian.
Yep, that's Vivian. Because Vivian is human monster.
So because Chandra's coming down, we need a green hothead, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Except she needs to also be, like, a terrorist. I don't understand it. We'll get into that later, maybe.
It's like, hey, I hate you. I don't even know who you are. It's the, you ruined my life. I don't even know who you are.
The last one of the humans in this particular episode we're going to talk about is Kelsine. And basically the idea... Yes. So there's a place called Orn, the lost sanctuary of Orn, and it was destroyed by monsters. And this kid, he was the last of his, like, people basically that survived it. He became a hunter.
Oof.
And his only goal, he's red, black, white, his only goal is to destroy every single monster as revenge. And he wears a mask so that no one knows what he actually looks like.
Huh.
He's just like, he's John Wick in creature in card form.
Okay.
Like, it's just, that's his entire deal. He loves the idea of just killing stuff. The only humans we're not talking about in this particular episode are Jirina and Luca, because they're actually going to be super important to the main storyline. Okay. The next episode is going to be about the companion spring. So we'll see how you guys feel about that. Joe, take it away.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below, what kind of creature would you bond with? And leave a like if you like the video, and subscribe to catch the rest of Legendary Lore and Magic every Tuesday, Thursday.
Raven Dinosaur.
Elemental Way.